Hello everyone, morning, evening. So as you already know, I have started a new series on SharePoint SPFx. So what we are going to do first, let's see what is a SharePoint framework. So before going ahead, let's discuss about the work. The things I covered in the first video is on how we're going to set up uh, uh, setup and what type of web part and extension is there. So why SharePoint is there? So let's start with the SharePoint deployer on-premise. They started the product in 2001. So basically they have started to deploy. They have this WSP file. They're going to deploy it onto the farm. They have different web parts and that contain the feature XML all and it deployed on the farms. But if you talking about the scalability, it's not good as much as we can do. In order to do that, to scale up or to deploy into the multiple tenant, so they come up with a solution. There are a different type of solution. They introduced with the SharePoint Online is called SharePoint Editor. So they just use the JavaScript to inject it. Apart from this, there is the SharePoint add-in model where they use the iframe to put the script editor on it. And there is the third one is the SharePoint framework. They come up with the REST API and they use the full trust application and where you can use a JavaScript or you can use all your favorite programming language to create a web parts. So if you are here, click on the get started. There is a video, you can check it out and all the component what we are created and everything like the apps they are deployed to the app catalog, right? For that we need to create a tenant, right? So the tenant I've already discussed how we're going to create the tenant. If you have a Visual Studio subscription already there, you can use it by going to the site SharePoint App Center. You can create the your create your new site and the site collection. Go to the site you can use to use your component like whether it is a web parts and extension. So there is also called a SharePoint work workbench where you can test your web part or your extension. So for that you need to point at your URL, right? So in order to set up your development environment, so you can use there are different version of the SPFx available. So in order to do that, first we need to see there is called Joman. So you need to install the Node version first. So Node version, you can check the version. If not, you go to the Node side, install it. So Node hyphen version, it basically used to give you the version name. So right now my machine is 16.17 version right now installed it. So in order to do that for the better, you use the coding experience, you use the Visual Studio Code and also you can use this commands the npm package. You can install it into the global. So what they did, they have a human which is basically a scaffolding it can creating or your components like whether it is web part or extension. So once you install it global it available and you can run it anywhere and just you need to put the uh, you need to see like let me show you the component that I've installed right now. npm list hyphen global. So these all three global dependency already installed in my system, right? So if you see so this is all about when we are talking about these are the tool chain you must have in your system before you installed anything, right? So 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 let me go inside 201 setup directory and clear. Oh, okay, so the clear is used in bash, so I think we need to use CLS, right, to clear the screen. Yes, it is. So so let me quickly see the list of the installed version again in the package again. So
There are the human generator and the global CLI and the human yo. So if you wanted to be check like how you going to install and scaffolding work, you need to click on your type yo, and there is series of question. You can select the generator and whether you want to install the web part extension library or adaptive card extension, right? So once you have decided what you want to do, you can choose it and you create. So right now I'm not going to show you how we do it because this is a setup. So this is basically used to be setup. So the human is used to generate the template, right? So scaffolding. So we need to also create the self sign certificate as well. So you need to go to Gulp Trust Dev Cert. You can use that command to uh, create create trust between your on-premise or your local system, right? So there are the option tools as well available. You could go to the Fiddler and or Postman or Terminal or I mean these are some of the others optional tools. They can improve your productivity. That is why it's mentioned over there, right? You can also use this SPFx framework in on-premise as well, right? So there is not this the way to set up. There is another way we can use the container, right? If you have already a Docker install, so for that you need to must check like Windows WSDL, Windows subsystem Linux. So if it is already installed, it is already enabled here in your system in laptop. So you need to check first. You need to go see like whether the Docker is running or not. If it is running, so click right now. If you see my Docker is starting. So so this is what I earlier mentions like the install window on Linux on Windows with WSL, right? These are the PowerShell command. You can use it to install and you give the permission. So once it is up and running, you can use the container image to run your all the SPFX components. So the advantage of that, you need not to be install other dependency apart from this. Already you need to use the image, right? So what we are going to do here, we are using the dev container, and for the dev container, they allow us in the Visual Studio Code, they allow us to deploy the local, and this web container we specify the GitHub, sorry, Docker Hub image, and if you see, we have this Docker image. If you go Microsoft M365 PNP SPFX with latest tag, you will see there are all are the layers, and layer you will see the current version of the node is 16 points of 20. So there are all the dependency already exists inside the container, so you need not to be worry about, right? So this is the best way if you are wanted to use the s use this is I mean the image. So this is the latest thing you can do. So first let me go to the open this Visual Studio Code, and you need to for that you need to create a first directory is called dev container dot dev container, right? So once it is done, you need to put all the dev container JSON or SPFX hyphen startup.sh. So what I will do, I will put everything into the link description. Also, I'm planning to create my Git repo. I will provide the URL and the link whenever suits you. So let's do some cleanup work here. So let's delete the old file and update the .dev container. So once it is rename it, you able to see that we there are two files that we need to create is a dev container.json and then SPFX hyphen startup.sh. So here the tricky not a tricky part, the best part that you need to go to the container and specify there the you need to specify the which image you need to use it, right? So I will put everything related to .dev container and all the settings and everything I will put into the description. I'll give you provide you the link and everything so that you won't miss anything. So what I will do, I will copy paste everything whatever mentioned here. Basically, the copy. So this is a very reliable source. This is a Microsoft samples. We can see the how the other developer creating using this SPFx, right? So you can copy this the sh file as well, all the content, and copy and paste and save the settings. Once it is done, you need to open your 01 folder in Visual Studio Code. So that is why you can get the option that run into container. And I think this is so so let me show you that the extension. So the extension is called that dev container, right? So you need to install it dev container. So you will get the options. So these are all the ports that are going to be used here. So maybe I will update the ports. It's not the same which is right now. So let's quickly make this little bit better. So the required to I will update some of the things inside this dev content.json file. So let's quickly open this 01 hyphen setup and in another instance of Visual Studio Code. Let's quickly open it. So we will go to the Visual Studio in the in the command prompt and dot code. So there is another instance have been opened. If you see there is a option is come open container, reopen in container, right? So once you click it, you're able to see the all everything is come up here. So you can use the image, so you can use the latest. So if you go to the Docker Hub and you will see the latest image name. So you use the simple this tag. So also you specify the rename the name of your SPFx. So right now I'm not sure about which exactly version it's installed. So we will see later. So what exact version they are using. So so if you see, we need to update the image name, also the name of that dev container, right? So what I will do for the time being, I will first see whether there is some version mentioned in here in the image layer. If it is not, then let make it as latest as of now, and then when later I will publish it and see like exactly which version they have using the SPFX, I will update it. So for the time being, we can use the SPFX latest, and then give the name to SPFX latest, right? And once it is done, we will save the settings, and we will either from Windows we will press control P, or we will use the option P and then specify the reopen dev container and the reopen and container. The option is second, right? When we click it, so it will open the Visual Studio, and we will able to see all the logs. And if you see now the container is running, and you will see each and every logs are there and all the commands and everything. If the image is not uploaded right, so it will automatically upload the image which is from the Docker website. It will get the latest image, and in the image it will install all and everything. So once everything is complete, we will see the container without making. So if C is a done, press any key to terminate this. So what I will do, I will create the bash. So the bash, if you see, we have a command. So I will make sure we will use some of the
bash command. So right now I'm not good in the bash, so I need to hit and try some of the commands. So let me see. The another command is ls-a, I think. Not ls, it's ls-a. So if you see, these are the files are created. So eh, in order to check whether the yo install or not, I will just press yo and see the commands whether you will get it. Yeah, so it's already installed, right? So for generator is already there. What we need to do, we will we will press enter, and then it will specify the name of the solution. So let leave as it is. And once it is done, it what you want to do, I will select web part and I will use the React framework, and then it will create everything. And now the npm installed, it will install all the components and dependency, and it will take time. If you want, you can wait. So we need to wait for a couple of time. So if you go there and see uh, the files, you will, if you see right now, if you press refresh, if you see these all files are there and they installed, and it will take some time to install. So this is the way you can use it. This is the right way to install, to work independently, right? So you need not to be install, you need not to be use, if you install and you're desktop. Oh, so you need to keep updated all the version, right? For if you're using the container image, so the advantage of this, you can use the new container whenever the new code come up. You need to just update the your dev container.json file, and the code remain the same. You can check, test your all the latest code with the latest version of SPFx package if the Microsoft is planning to enroll the new package. So this is advantage of using the SPFx, right? So let me quickly open the SPFx. Uh, so my tenant. So it will take hardly take a minute. So meanwhile, if you see the progress is still there, nothing much. They're taking time to install it. So meanwhile, what I will do, I will install it and run it and see if this working or not. So I need to enter the passwords. Once I will enter the password, I have entered the password successfully. So if you see, it's loading and this is my home screen. So if you see, the site is there. Let me move into the home page, and then we will good to go. So if you see in the right hand side, we do have some of the dependency that currently loading. Meanwhile, what we can wait for to complete all the installation. So once we done, we will use a gulp serve to load. Yeah, it's there, so it's completed successfully. So what I will do, I will use gulp serve to to launch my workbench. In order to do that, we need to copy the URL and go to the serve.json file, inside the config, and we need to update this URL. See here, I have updated the URL, and once the URL is updated, I need to save it, and then I need to use the gulp serve command. So I have, let's quickly do. If you see, these are the ports. I think I need to um update some of the things here. So I will update, maybe I will update the container config, dev container config. So I will update and push it everything on the GitHub, so that you will able to get it all the things. And so now the container is running, if you see, and you need to you will see that the web part, it's there. I'm not sure whether, so it's not showing here, so we need to do a little bit of troubleshooting in order to visible. So I think there are a couple of things we can do. We can see the certificate is has been created successfully, or if you see that it's
loading and also the bundle created successfully. So I'm not sure why it's not uh, available here. I think we need to do a couple of things. For example, if you see, this is the local, these are the two ports, right? So we need to browse those ports and see whether they are working. So if you see, it's block, right? So we need to go to the advanced setting and unblock this URL. And now it's, if you see, I have unblocked it, and meanwhile we will see the other URL as well. So yeah, it's there. So the next step, let's do it again. So now it's not there. So I think what we need to do, we need to press F12 to go to the developer extension and see that what went wrong. So I think let me do it. So I have pressed F12 and go to the developer mode and make sure you have check this. So it's, you need to resolve. There it will be a serve as fresh. There is no cache, so you need to make sure you have checked it. And now if you click here, plus new button, and then you will see, if you see the output also, you will see some of the changes. If you see their requests, we are receiving the request, right? So I think this is main important point. I think now you are able to see the web part. If you see in the local, there's a web part. So I that's it. When you click it, and yes, that's it. I think, I hope you like it. So we will catch you in the next step. Till then, bye and have a great day, and we will catch you soon later.